Hi, and welcome to the Caterpillar Cross Stitch YouTube channel. My name's Ford from Son of a Stitch. I've been cross-stitching for about 11 years now, and during that time I found that when I'm regularly cross-stitching, I'm a happier, more productive, more well-balanced person. But occasionally I'll encounter some sort of a mental or emotional block that will prevent me from doing any regular stitching. And so it's become important for me on occasion to be able to prompt myself back into the habit and the practice of stitching. In a lot of cross-stitching communities, this is sometimes referred to as losing your stitchy bug. So this week, I'm going to teach you my top 5 ways to get your stitchy bug back. Here at Caterpillar Cross Stitch, we are all about cross stitch, and we upload helpful and hopefully entertaining videos about it every single week. So make sure that you subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss any of that stitchy goodness. And if you like this video in particular, make sure you give it a like and leave me a comment down below so that I know I should make more content like it. The idea for this video came to me the other day when I was sitting for this latest session of the tattoo that I've been working on. And I was talking to my tattooist, Annalise, and we realized that we have basically the same job, which is to stab stuff till it's pretty. And she said that she had encountered some artistic block and was having trouble working on the project that she was working on, and asked me what my methods were for getting back to things that I'm going to share with you today. Now, before I get any further, I want to make sure to remind you to join the Caterpillar Cross Stitch VIP Stitch Club. When you join, you'll get 10% off your first order, you'll get a free ebook with 8 cross-stitch patterns in it, and you'll get a digital download with our top 10 stitching tips. So hit the link down there in the description to get all of those great benefits. Now, my first recommendation is all about self-care. This is not the kind of self-care that we talk about on Instagram or Tumblr, which is pretty much limited to just self-soothing, and that's the first step. But for me, cross-stitching is the self-soothing thing, so I need to be able to get myself to do that. So what I recommend for this is to focus on the space and the environment where you're going to be stitching. Make sure you've got good lighting. Get all of your supplies organized. If you have a bunch of skeins of floss that you're not using, or tools that are in your whip box, or other things in the area, get that all reorganized without it being as the first step to stitching. Make it its own project, because then rather than being a barrier that you have to overcome to start stitching, it's just its own individual project. So get all of that set up. I would even go so far as to figure out where I'm going to start working on my project. Make sure that I've got a full needle of thread and the first stitch on it all done and ready to go, so that when I come back later and want to start stitching, I can just sit down and start going. Pre-eliminate all of those barriers for myself so that when the mood strikes me, I'll be just ready to go. This is actually something that my girlfriend helped me with recently by going through my whip box with me and helping me get rid of all of the skeins of floss that I wasn't using and all of the tools that were in there that were just getting in my way and making it more difficult for me to stitch. And this was a huge help, and maybe there's someone that could help you with it as well, that will help you get that environment ready to go to remove those hurdles. There was a time a couple of years ago when I was working on a really big project that I needed to get done by a particular time, but I just found myself mentally unable to work on it. I just couldn't get myself started. So I decided what I would do is I would set it aside for just a second, and I did a very small project. I was leaving for a road trip, someone else was going to be driving. I kitted up a tiny little project that I knew would only take me the afternoon. By the time we got to our destination, I was done with that project. I even already had the frame ready for it. I just popped it in there, and I had such a strong endorphin rush from finishing that project that I was able to transfer that momentum into the bigger project that I was working on and get that done. So setting the project aside and working on something else, or especially something small that you can finish within a very short period of time, can really help you build that creative momentum, and then you can just transfer that momentum back into the project that you really wanted to be working on to begin with. The next one is a little similar, but in a slightly different circumstance. If you have a big project that you're working on and you're just not making progress on it, you're just not getting anywhere with it, give yourself permission to break up with it. put that project away. You can put it in a bag, you can put it in a craft drawer, you can set a time when you want to come back to it, or you can just never come back to it. Cross-stitching is a hobby. It's not a job for most people. So if you're not enjoying it, especially if you're not enjoying the project that you're working on, set it aside and work on something that you enjoy. Now, if you are going to put it away into storage, I recommend taking it out of the hoop or Q-snap if you use one of those, because leaving it in there for years, potentially, which I have done, can leave permanent marks on the project. And if you ever do decide to get back together with it, you might want to have it be in pristine condition. So take it out of the hoop, put it in a bag, put it away. Give yourself permission to give up on it. Another strategy that I've done in order to get myself back into stitching is to do a different kind of project than I've done before. Either something aesthetically very different that excites me, like a blackwork project, or finishing the project in a really different way. A couple of months ago, I designed and stitched my first biscornu. I'd never made a three-dimensional object in cross-stitch before, and it was so fun and so different that it really created a lot of momentum and energy for me to work on my other creative projects. So instead of putting it in a frame or just putting it in a book or whatever you normally do with a project, do something really different with it. Make a pillow or make a tapestry or use some waste canvas and cross stitch on a ball cap. Something really different from what you've done before can really refresh your enjoyment and your excitement about the craft projects that you're working on. And my last recommendation is something that I recommend pretty much every single week, and that's go into some online cross-stitching spaces, especially the Caterpillar Cross-Stitch Facebook group and Instagram feed. There's a lot of people in there doing some really fun and interesting things with their projects. You can encounter a lot of inspiration, and just being around other people who are excited about the craft can really help rejuvenate that excitement for you as well. So go in there, talk to people, share what you've been doing, see what other people have been working on, and just being around other people who have the same interest in you as you can really help rejuvenate that and get you back into the habit and to the practice of stitching. So that's it. Those are my top 5 tips for how to get your stitchy bug back. Do you have something different that you do? Let us know in the comments down below, and don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Ford for Caterpillar Cross Stitch, and I'll see you next time.